Wasn't I just on camera? Man. If these shows get big, then what else am I gonna do? I don't know. It's alright. I'll just keep turning out content. If you guys keep watching. Here we go in 4, 3, 2, 1. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Today is Tuesday, October 2nd, 2019. My name is Jeremy, and this is my first cup of coffee. Switch back to the Four Sigmatic mushroom blend. I was getting a little bored of the other, which is crazy because it's so good. Well, let's see what's going on. What's going on around here? Some of the tropical plants are inside, which is always a mixed bag for me. I'll show you. So where do I flip there? Bam. Right. So there's an avocado and a rubber plant. And there are a couple others. There are a couple palms over there. There's one more avocado that's gonna come in. There's an aloe right here, big crazy aloe. And it's a mixed bag because I love having the plants inside, but it also means that it's getting cold out. And the reason I brought them in is for their own safety. I enjoy many things about winter, but I just wish we had a longer summer. That's all. Maybe I'll move somewhere where there is. Oh, that's good. Well, last night was the first Martial Arts Radio live episode. We went from 8 to 9 o'clock Eastern, and it was fun. Definitely have some ideas on how we can improve. I see a lot of things that I could have done better, but I want to thank everyone who tuned in, who contributed questions, who kept it going in the chat. Across the hour, there was something like 108 comments, which was awesome. It was fun to really engage with people. Gave away some stuff, ran some sales, did some trivia. Ooh. And apparently I'm not good at trivia because the questions I asked were really hard to the point where people stopped guessing. And that's fine. That's totally fine. I'll do better for next time, right? So we're gonna do that show every first Tuesday. So the next one's November 5th, if I'm remembering my calendar correctly. But here we are, a few hours later. It's first cup. It's a whole different scene. Not much has happened other than I went to bed, and now I'm awake and I have a cup of coffee. I've got some questions to answer. So I hope you had a great Monday. Hope you checked out yesterday's episode with Mr. James Wilkes. Hope you listened to that. Hope you enjoyed that. Maybe learned something. Because today's questions. What was that? Go back. Stacy says yes, November 5th, indeed. Today's questions come in from Frank, and they're all related to yesterday's episode of Martial Arts Radio about nutrition and such. Where do you think the belief that people need to eat meat to be big and strong comes from? I think there are a couple things. If you think of the simplest sources of protein to both digest and use, that is meat. It is true that you can eat non-meat sources and take protein from them. It is true that you can, there are vegan bodybuilders out there. Totally an option. But it doesn't mean it's easy. If you think of the animals in the wild that are the biggest and strongest, they all eat meat. It's not a coincidence. What we have now with modern science and understanding is the ability to kind of hack that in a way. So again, doesn't mean you can't. Just means it's not easy. Next. What is one thing you wish more people knew about nutrition? That's a good question. I wish people realized that a lot of what we have been taught about nutrition came from either influenced or straight up fabricated scientific research. For example, the idea that fat was demonized. You don't have to look that hard now to find that the studies that demonized fat were paid for by companies that had interest in sugar. All the things that we know now to be caused by excessive sugar, we said were from fat. So we've got an entire couple generations that were lied to, and it's going to take time to push those beliefs out. For example, there are still new low-fat products coming out. It's terrible. Because if you look at what they're replacing the fat with, it's generally sugar. Or it's crap. It's not even food. Yes, fat has a lot of calories compared to carbohydrates and protein, but it's also more satisfying. So you don't need to eat as much. What's another example? Things that people should know about. The idea that salt is bad. It is likely possible that you can eat too much salt. Oh, I have to disclaim. I am not a medical doctor. I'm not a registered nutritionist. Nothing that I say is true or real, and I'm a liar, and don't listen to me. There we go. Salt is incredibly necessary for biological functions, for most of them. And this is why, if you go back, salt was so prized, because we needed it. And we recognized that we needed it. So we would do a lot of things to get it. We lived near the coast. We ate animal products that had sodium. This is real stuff. So if you do not put salt on things and eat a very low sodium diet, you may want to do some exploration of the symptoms of not having enough salt in your diet. Everything from not sleeping well to, well, there's just a whole bunch. I'm not going to go into it. You can look into it if you want. This is a martial arts show. To performance in the gym when you go train. There we go. There's a tie back. What is your favorite vegetarian thing to make? So as long as we define vegetarian as including eggs, it's pretty much the various things that I make for breakfast. Breakfast most morning is a couple eggs with other stuff. If I'm on the ball, my refrigerator looks like a Subway, not the train, but the restaurant, the sandwich place. I tend to have a bunch of different food chopped up, and here's a little hack that I use. If you've ever seen the Debbie Meyer's green bags, those little green bags that keep fruit and vegetables ripe longer, they make containers. And I'll put my food in there, and I can leave certain things in there, like onions. I can leave in 2 to 3 weeks chopped up, and they don't go bad. It's really, really neat stuff. So if I have a bunch of stuff in there, I'll throw in some eggs, and I make a scrambles. Lately, I've been putting it over toast, whether that's sourdough toast or sprouted grain like Ezekiel bread toast. And here's the thing. This was the heart of, my opinion, what Mr. Wilkes was talking about on yesterday's episode. If you eat food that makes you feel good, you will perform better. But most of us are so detached from what feels good and from what food can do for us that we ignore that. Now, I have similar but not the same beliefs as Mr. Wilkes. I believe eating whole foods is best. I believe that much of the time eating that food in a raw state is best. But I do not feel as strongly about the meat side, even though I don't eat meat. I eat fish. Fish is meat, but I don't eat, when think meat, they tend to think beef and chicken. The reason I do not have those things in my diet has nothing to do with nutrition. In fact, I've spent a lot of time countering what my body has dealt with from not eating those things. I think in modern society, we've spent a lot of time distancing ourselves from our feelings, whether that be emotional feelings or physical feelings, or what it feels like to eat a meal and then not feel, right? Think about how we typically feel when we're full. We want to go take a nap. We can't move. It's not the way it should be. If you eat good food, and you remember that food is fuel, you're trying to fuel your body with the best stuff. That varies from person to person, can vary during the time of day, time of year. If you're training for something in particular, it can vary in that way. But if you eat good food, your body responds. It gives you what you need. And you can say the same thing about your training. If you train intelligently, if you don't try to train too much, but make sure you are training enough, you'll progress. You'll feel good. Your body will feel good. It's all about finding the right dose, the right amount, whether it's your time doing martial arts or what and how much you're eating. And in Western society, we tend to preach that more is better, and that's not the case. What happens if you eat too much? You get fat. What happens if you train too much? You've overtrained and your body starts to break down or at least back off. You stop making progress, you start to regress. You can say the same thing about anything. You can do anything too much. And it requires discipline to do something the right amount. When someone's out there running constantly, say they're training for something, or maybe they're just a very passionate runner, ask them to skip a day. What happens? They have a hard time doing it. That's not discipline. That's not passion. That's addiction. You can be addicted to anything. And just because some of the things that we are addicted to are what? Cat's very fussy this morning. Just because some of the things that we're addicted to seem good on paper doesn't mean they actually are. So, good question. Maybe it's time for another book. It is time for another book. I've got like 3 chapters. I got the titles of like 3 chapters. I should probably put that on the schedule at some point. We'll see. I got a lot going on. Well, good question. So, I'll give you your homework in a minute. I didn't give you homework yesterday, but don't forget, we do the show every weekday morning, 6:30 a.m. Eastern, right here on YouTube. And once a week, I upload them to the podcast feed, so you can catch them in your podcast app as audio. If you want to ask a question, drop it below. Don't forget to subscribe, turn on notifications, so you can find out when we do this show or when we upload anything else. There's other stuff coming. Who'd Win is coming back for episode 2. I'll be uploading yesterday's Martial Arts Radio Live at some point soon here. You'll see it. Good stuff. So, all right. Well, yeah, homework. I want you to think about your training. I want you to think about how much you train and how it makes you feel. How does it make you feel mentally? How does it make you feel physically? Maybe even emotionally or spiritually, if those are aspects of training that you feel. I want you to really get in touch. Are you training enough? Are you not training enough? And whether or not it's enough is entirely based on your goals. You know it's enough based on how it feels. If you want to push that line, if you're always banged up, if you're always injured, you're training too much. If you feel good physically, but you're not progressing in the way that you want, you're not training enough. And it's about finding that balance, that sweet spot. Here's an unfortunate reality. There's probably no amount or single type of training that is going to get you everything you want. You got to put it together. It's kind of like food. There's no one food that you can throw on a plate and eat just that, the right amount, and live the healthy life that you want. You got to piece it together. So, I hope you have a great day. Thanks for coming by. I'll see you back here tomorrow. Take care. Peace.